So just in case you've been living under a rock for the past week, we just had a special announcement at the Future Games show that nobody could have predicted for a new ASIM to come to the stage in 2026. And it is none other than the biggest IP going in the horror space, Halloween the game. Halloween will be coming to your Xbox X and S, PS5, PC, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. Players will be able to put on the mask and become the Boogeyman of that dreadful night of 1978 in Haddonfield, or become the hero and stop Michael's reign of terror by saving not only themselves but the residents of Haddonfield. As of right now of recording this video, we only have the teaser trailer from the Future Games show. We also have some screenshots from the actual game, and we also have a description of how both game modes will work, the single player and the multiplayer, that you'll find at halloweengame.com. I'll leave links in the description for all these so you can go check them out. I'll also cover a little bit of it myself. And on top of that, we also have a lot of talk about this game on the internet, whether it's positive or whether it's negative. And I'm going to touch on pretty much all of them, to be honest, because I've read enough and I've heard enough and I've watched enough. So I think it's time for me to get what I think off my chest about everything that's going on and what everybody's saying. And excuse the pun, but take a stab at it myself. Personally, I'm excited to see this. I'm looking forward to seeing some gameplay, because I always have this thing where like I kind of become a little bit obsessed with certain things that I'm really interested in. For instance, you read about the game, you look at the screenshots, and then you think to yourself, you're like, yeah, but what does it really look like, you know? Because you haven't seen any gameplay. What does it feel like to be Michael and to stalk your prey in the shadows, in the dark? And you get those movie moments where you scare the piss out of somebody, you know? Those are the types of things that get my blood pumping for these type of games. So that really gets me excited to see the actual gameplay. And then that could actually like kill my excitement, or it could even hype my excitement up a bit more. Let's not forget also we have the legendary film director John Carpenter is working and is heavily involved within this project as well. He's also an avid lover of games himself. Not only is he involved highly with Halloween the game, but he also has another game on the horizon for 2026 as well called Toxic Commando. This is aimed more at the Left 4 Dead co-op shooter crowd out there, so look out for that coming in 2026. Firstly, let's talk about the main developer behind this title. It is IllFonic. If you're not familiar with some of their previous titles, we have Friday the 13th, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Ghostbusters, and Predator Hunting Grounds. I can clarify right now and say I only played 2 of the titles that they made, one being Friday the 13th and the other being Predator Hunting Grounds. Now, what seems to have sparked a lot of controversy is that Gun are involved. These are Gun Interactive, the guys that are behind Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And what a lot of people don't understand is they actually didn't develop the game. They had involvement within develop of the game, but it was actually down to Sumo Nottingham, as Gun took on a publishing role, but clearly had more involvement than they will have with Halloween the game. They're just co-publishing, so their job is to give money, do good marketing to get more eyeballs on the game. Clearly, they will give a little bit of insight here and there, I guess, because if you're not aware, Wes actually does have 3 IPs that he wants to be involved with, and Halloween is actually one of them. One is Halloween, second one is The Thing, and then third and lastly would be Nightmare on Elm Street. So the fact that Texas Chainsaw Massacre essentially has died and there will be no updates in regards to it anymore and will be going to peer-to-peer servers is the fact that, given the opportunity that Halloween's on the slate, as they are filling in from boss teams, because apparently they lost the rights through some kind of doing over their shareholders or something regarding that. Am I going to be surprised of Wes jumping onto an IP that he really has some love for and would have liked to be part of the project? Of course not. And I'll be honest, I'm not an avid Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan. I hadn't even seen the movie until I played the game. I watched the movie and then I played the game, and I grew some more love for it. But when it comes to horror IPs, Halloween is like right up there. I could say the same for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm not really that much of a fan of it. There are other horror icons out there that I prefer, so when it comes to a certain IP, I will be more interested in it compared to others. Now, one thing I'm not saying is the criticism wasn't warranted in regards to how they actually treated their game and how they spoke to their community, but I also don't have enough time in the day to get into game developer politics all the time, because I've got a life, I've got a job, I've got people to see, things to do, so
ain't nobody got time for that.
Just don't worry, I've got you, fam. That's what the kids say, right? Take a deep breath in close your eyes, hold out the palm of your hand and just place it on the screen. And just know that you have touched grass today. I'm not gonna lie, I feel calmer already. But I'm not saying like your anger isn't justified or that you should be a bit pessimistic about this project. I think anybody should be if you're aware of both studios' track records, which I am aware of both studios' track records. That's why I said I'll wait till I see gameplay before I even decide what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna jump on the internet and start screaming, nobody buy this game, everybody boycott everything. Because I have enough variety in my gaming, I'm not going to play an asim game until the day I die. I'm going to try loads of stuff because I love variety in my life. I think a fair point of criticism was made by the YouTuber Rapid Main, and I think he had a good point with what he said, and I kind of agree with what he's saying here in regards to the track record of both studios.
I think one thing I do have to say is I think both of these developers do a really good job at making the game, but their practices after the game formally launch basically go off a cliff, which is why a lot of people called for when Gun announced TCM being sunsetted to sell it off, because they're great at making the product from the IP, but they're terrible at the upkeep. They can't update it properly, add more content, balance. They don't know how to run a live service game. They know how to craft it and give it to the player base, but they do not know how to update it.
I believe after everything I've heard, everything I've read, that is fair criticism. They can put the product together, but they struggle afterwards. And these are the lessons they need to learn from their other projects. And they have stated that they are learning these lessons. Like, at the end of the day, nobody's fucking perfect, okay? We all fuck up, we all make bad decisions, but the purpose is to learn from those decisions and lessons and try and be better. Which brings me on to my next point of where Rapid would actually say, I don't recommend this game to people. I'm like, dude, you've not even seen the game. Obviously, you're a content creator, you're gonna buy it, you're gonna play it, I get that. But to state you can't recommend something that hasn't actually been created fully and you've been able to get your hands and see and play is just kind of ridiculous in my brain. And then lastly, the whole debate about DBD. Will this kill DBD? No, this will not kill DBD. This is not meant to kill DBD. I understand it's in the same genre. It's nice to have competition. I kind of agree. What a lot of people are saying is DBD will actually kill itself. And regardless of all those licenses they got, I hear on the grapevine that it's not doing too well in that bug fixing department and listening to its community department and making promises to its community department. So maybe we should stop pointing fingers, but I digress. Coming out of the gate, Halloween the game will only have the material from Halloween 1 and 2 to actually work with the possibility of adding more content from other sequels, providing the success of the title. So now we've got those topics out of the way, let's talk about locations within the game. First up, we have Smith Grove Sanitarium, the psychiatric hospital where Michael was held as a child before he escapes as an adult. I do really like how this sets the tone for the game itself. It's dark, it's gloomy, it's raining. We've got the car there, a few patients outside. They do see a little box, and people have already been speculating that this little box with the little green light on the security cabin could be a fuse box. It's early days yet, but we'll see. Moving on. The next location that we've been teased is the Red Rabbit Lounge. Now, you only see in Halloween 1 that Loomis has a pack of matches, symbolizing that he's actually tracking Michael, but it would later go on in Rob Zombie's version of Halloween to state this is where Deborah Myers, Michael's mother, used to work at a strip club called the Red Rabbit Lounge. So I'm just assuming this will be inserted into the story campaign somehow in order to give you a bit more lore into Michael and his family and fill in a few gaps in between the story that you didn't actually see on screen. Here we get a close-up of Dr. Loomis, who will be actually in the game. People are assuming he's going to be an NPC. Maybe he's an NPC, or maybe he's actually playable, like a Tommy Jarvis kind of character that comes in to save the day. And obviously a close-up of the shape himself, Michael Myers. I like how his eyes are just visible through that dark mask. We also know that the police will be playing a role within the game itself in the multiplayer. Not too sure about the single player itself, but they'll be like NPCs. They'll be patrolling, knowing that Michael is around, on top of the heroes trying to warn the other residents of Michael's presence. Here we have a shot of Michael coming face to face with one of the heroes in a tight hedged pathway at the side of a house. I do seriously hope we can just stand there and tilt our head. We also know that heroes and residents will be able to combat Michael, as we see here depicted a hero wielding a baseball bat. so expect a variety of melee weapons and guns. The question of how rare these items will be in game is unknown. Now that brings us to the topic of stuns and how long you'll be stunned for. A lot of debate has been about the stunning in previous games, so like Friday the 13th. They don't want Michael to get bullied like Jason did, because he was constantly getting hit by a bat and getting knocked over. And stuns from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when you kept getting hit by the door, he kept getting stabbed in the back. It kind of became very tedious. They've come out and said you don't need to worry about that. So I'm assuming that when you go to hit Michael with the bat will break and it will do nothing to Michael. Because let's be honest, Michael is literally unstoppable. And I previously brought up this fact last time in my last video, that I understand developers, you need to have like a balance between the hero or victim and the killer. But at the end of the day, a killer is supposed to be feared. He's supposed to be unstoppable. But you've also got to give a little bit of wiggle room so they feel like they do have a chance, but they need to fear Michael. So this is the emphasis here. You need to fear Michael, and you need to know that even if you've got a weapon, it ain't gonna help you. It might slow him down for a bit, but that's about it. Next, we just have a shot of Michael here looking very menacing at the bottom of a staircase. I love this shot. It's got that incredible lighting effect, the dark tone, you know, the atmosphere it's creating just from the shot alone says you're gonna be in for a good time. And he's even tilting his head like you see in the movie too. This is definitely one of those moments where you look down and you see Michael's there and you're like, shit. Absolutely love it. And then lastly, this shot here of Michael just patiently waiting. I definitely believe that they have captured the essence of Halloween to a T in all these screenshots, with John Carpenter on top bringing his excellent score to the game. Tone and vibe is just all on point. Here we have a brief description on what will entail within the multiplayer mode, so let's quickly go over this. In the multiplayer mode, you and up to 4 other players could join to help free your town from death itself. With an array of interactable elements, players will have to team up, be smart, brave, and efficient to aid their friends and the folks of Haddonfield in thwarting Michael Myers. Explore the film locations you know and love across multiple maps, and who knows, maybe you'll find some sweet Easter eggs from this horror masterpiece along the way. I'm very curious to see what the NPC side of things is going to look like. We do know that we will be killing NPCs and that the 4 heroes are trying to alert them of Michael's presence and save them as well as themselves. But the question is, how are they going to function? Are they going to be set in the same locations? It's going to be the same NPCs every time, because there needs to be variation here on the types of houses that you go into and the types of residents you come across. And they have spoken about replayability, and this is a big factor in how replayability will go along with the multiplayer and the single player. People have also speculated that by us killing these NPCs, obviously it's not giving the heroes a chance to call the cops or just let everybody know that Michael is around, and that by killing these NPCs you'll actually gain power through it. That is obviously just speculation at this point, but it does make sense. Personally, I do believe that a lot of Friday the 13th mechanics will bleed into this game from their previous title, because as we see in this shot here, she's trying to warn the residents, then the lights go out. Power was a factor in Friday the 13th with the cabins. We had the power boxes on the back that we could whack and turn it off, and it increases the fear of the survivors, in this case the heroes. So clearly fear is going to be a mechanism involved within the game. Killing NPCs for Michael will probably give him more power, and it will probably make Michael more able to see where these heroes are within the map of Haddonfield. And with how slow and methodical and menacing that Michael is, just like in Friday the 13th, he'll probably have a teleport, he'll have a shift, so he can go to places really quickly because he needs to get around the map as quickly as he can. And then obviously a stalking mechanism to make sure nobody hears when he's making any footsteps. That was also present in Friday the 13th as well. So I am seeing a lot of things translating from Friday the 13th into Halloween the game. When it comes to kills within the game, I'm hoping to see an array of kill animations from the actual movies themselves, as well as some brand new ones. So many possibilities. It's also been confirmed that the OG shape from Halloween 1 Nick Castle has returned and will be doing the mocap, and Kane Hodder has also been doing some mocap work on the side for this title as well. So if you didn't know, Kane did a lot of work on Friday the 13th, the game, and he also did work on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the game, in the mocap space. And he's always happy and excited to do so. There is also just a few little topics I want to cover before we finish off this video. The first is the meta game. Another YouTuber also referenced this themselves, basically saying that when we play these kind of asim games, everybody's really excited at the start because everyone's learning how to play the game. Once everybody learns to play the game, they learn the perks, they learn all the systems, and then meta sets in. And then the game becomes like a sweat fest, and it's just very competitive all the time, which I understand. I'm very competitive when I play these types of games myself, but we don't want this to happen, or you shouldn't want this to happen. If any developers are listening, you want to also make sure that all your bugs are done. You've got loads of playtesting. If you want somebody to playtest your game, be sure to email me. I'm available to playtest your game, not a problem. But we really don't want it to turn into this, like, players will find the path of least resistance, and meta will stick, and everybody will stick to that meta regardless. Streamers will do the same. They will tell their communities how to play with each character, what perks to have. I'm curious to see how the perk system is going to be. If it's more in line with F13, it's a lot better than what we had with Texas Chainsaw, because meta did set in. There were a lot of useless perks. I'm going to say this, a lot of useless perks. Make sure all your perks are viable. We don't want useless perks because they will never get used. This is how gamers are, and they will also try and break your game, so be sure to fully play test your game a lot. On top of that, they say another YouTuber referenced a ladder system, some kind of progression system. Yes, you'll have the level cap and everything, but there has to be some kind of progression in order for people to stick around. Because if not, people will get to that point, they'll stop, and then they'll just put the game down. It's just the route. If you're only aiming for a certain window of how long you want the game to last for, that's fair enough. But if you want this game to continue, obviously they have stated themselves that they will look into more sequels as long as the game is actually successful, which is good. You'll get different types of Michael masks, probably different outfits as well on top. Also, do assume there will be microtransactions in this game for different outfits. As long as they're not overpriced, I won't have an issue buying skin. You should also consider actually having unlockables within the game. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes and what kind of gameplay we're going to see next. I think I've rambled on long enough. I hope I covered everything. If there's something I missed, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. We've got a long wait ahead of us, and we've also got some upcoming content at some point. We don't know when, but fingers crossed we're going to see something soon when a beta's going to turn up, or maybe I'll get a little email saying, hey Sleggy, do you want to play this game? You want to play test this game for me? That'll be good. Like I say, I'm available, but I think you're doing a cracking job from what I've seen so far. I'm really excited to see more of this game, and I'm hoping it's going to be, well, I know it's going to be successful. It's a massive IP, so it will be successful for you guys. All the best. Obviously, the hardest hurdle with these types of games is the longevity part. You've got to make sure you've got everything in place, ready to go. You don't want to keep people waiting, because that just creates that frustration on the side of the player. Yes, I understand we need to be patient and stuff, but also it'd be so much easier if you just had all that shit locked in and ready to go, and then nobody would complain. Understand that gamers are greedy, super greedy, so just give it them, and they'll be happy. But those are just my thoughts, guys. What are your thoughts on Halloween, the game coming in 2026? Are you excited to see Halloween come to the gaming sphere? Are you not excited? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from all of you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash a like on it. It really helps out the channel as we continue to grow the YouTube. If you want to support the channel any further, the best way of doing that is by subscribing. I've been Salty Sleggy, and this has been Halloween. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.